everybody. Hello there. Thanks a lot, Terry. This is Art Manville. How is everybody out there today?
Great.
Oh, come on.
Muted out.
You're all muted out there? She's got you muted. Well, my name is Art Manville. I'd like to welcome you to Art and Terry's Saturday webinar. Very excited to be on the line here today. Got a great training here, which if you're leaders, you know that you have two things that you want to do is to get started yourself and help other people get started. So let's just take one more round of introductions before we mute the line. If you haven't had a chance to say hello, please go ahead, introduce yourself now. Tell us who you are and where in this wonderful world you're calling in from.
We have any Vaughn from Fort Lauderdale?
Okay.
So everybody at once, why not? Okay.
Richard from England.
All right, welcome.
I'm from Northern Michigan.
Okay, welcome, Northern Michigan.
From UK.
Okay, good to have you on.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
All right. Anyone else like to say hello before we mute the line?
Louise from Nepal, Manitoba, Canada.
Okay, welcome.
It's Richard from England.
Okay, welcome.
Vicky
from England. Hi, Art.
All right, hello, welcome. All right, I think we'll get the ball rolling here. Thank you all for coming on here. Let me just do this and do this. So thank you all for coming on the webinar today. Yeah, that's some pictures of us, Terry and I. Phenomenal to be involved in Zango. Who would have thought just 6 years ago that we would be where we are? And so it's a wonderful, wonderful company to be involved with, and it won't let you down. And today we're going to talk about how to get started. Now, what I was saying before is that if you're wise, and you're a leader, you're on a call like this to learn how to get your new people started. So it's not just about how do you get started if you're new and if you've been in Zango for a short period of time and you're wondering what it is that I'm missing here in my plan. So this is actually like a basic how to get started training, and you can look at it from two sets of eyes. What do I need to do to get my business going? How can I get started in this? And secondly, if I'm a leader, what do I have to get my new people doing? And how do I get them started, okay? So it becomes a teaching and a training business. And Terry, here's a wonderful shot of us up in here in Hawaii on the left side and at the Turtle Bay Resort. And also, gosh, it's been something, Zango, hasn't it?
Oh, it's just been an amazing journey. I mean, to be able to share this with our kids has just been very, very special. You know, we were able to take the kids all to Turtle Bay Resort this last summer, and that was a wonderful event for sure. So Zango has truly changed our lives, as I know it's changed many of yours as well out there.
Yeah. There I am in my waterfall down below there with a cup of coffee. We love working at home, and I think it is the ultimate plan B, don't I? Why Zango? Why would you want to build a Zango home business? You know, well, you get to work at home. You get to live wherever you want. And I thought, wow, what a wonderful business. As I was talking to somebody this week, that this business that we have here is completely portable. And if we wanted to go to Hawaii tomorrow, our business would come with us. We don't have any employees. We don't have any inventory. And we really, in this day and age, there's no real limitations. You can live wherever you want. Have you dreamed about living, on the side of some mountain or on some lake? If you've got high-speed internet, and that's pretty easy to get these days, and you've got a telephone and you've got access to the postal service, you can build a worldwide, global, multi-million-dollar business from wherever you are. And so you get to be with your family and spend time together. Certainly call your own shots, and make your own decisions, run your own life, run your own business, and you can do all of this with a very minimal investment in a business and a company that has absolutely $1 million potential. And so, gosh, it was interesting. We do leave the house occasionally, don't we? And sometimes you run across stuff like this. Do you realize this is how some people work every day? I'm talking 5 days a week. I mean, look at these guys here. I mean, how do they do it? Don't you think this is a better way to live? Of course it is. And so that's why you're here. And you realize that, and yes, that's me working. That's what I look like when I'm working. No painful commutes. Seems like the computer's a little slow this morning here. So the success circle, what is that all about? The success circle, I get these insights. When I have a call coming up, a webinar, I'm always looking to see what to talk about. How can I present this differently? And I was actually, we took some time off as we normally do for our date day, Terry, on Friday afternoons.
Every Friday afternoon since our first daughter was 2 years old, we've had date day on Fridays. And I used to always get a babysitter. And yesterday, of course, we went out Friday afternoon, and we do all kinds of fun things.
We went to the mall. We went out for dinner. We sat on this beautiful deck overlooking the Sound. And we don't have to concern ourselves with how much the tab is either, so that is great. But as I was going around the mall, and, sometimes I get insights while I'm just sort of walking and doing things, that sometimes we're too much in our head. We do too much thinking. It's when we stop thinking and actually work with our hands or do other kinds of things that insights can come to us, and revelations, if you will. And so I came up with something that I'm going to call the Success Circle here. Now, the Success Circle, this is going to be something that I hope you write down, because Zango is a success circle, and all the parts of the circle are important. And when you have all of the parts in place, you have what I call the package, the whole Zango circle. Our whole circle of success here is something that is very difficult to compete with. And so what does that look like? Here's what, whoops, went the wrong way there. Here's what the Success Circle looks like. And I want you to write this down. You might even want to draw this out, because when you're talking to people, you want to present all of the parts, or actually all of the circles within the circle. And so these 5 points here are all part of the circle, but each section here or point has its own circle and has its own story, right? And so you need to have be able to tell this story when you're talking to new people about Zango. And I'm going to start doing this now in all of my three-way calling. We're doing lots of three-way callings, and you're going to find out about how to do that a little bit later. And so part of that is normally to sort of present the Zango picture. Now, what we're learning is that our whole circle here is what makes us so powerful. And so we can focus on just one of these circles, or we can focus on the entire circle. And this is where we want to go. We want to have this whole presentation done. So let's, and I actually recorded this on a voice memo on my iPhone yesterday, and I thought actually about playing it, because I did this in about a minute and a half. And really it's like what you would call, I think, if you get good at this and if you practice this, you should be able to present this whole circle here in about 2 minutes. So let me give a run at this and see if I can do it. I've only done this once before. So Zango is an incredible company with an amazing track record of success. Almost $2 billion a year in sales in their first 7 years. They have an incredible management team, a dream team management team that have over 200 years of experience in the industry. They've come out with some incredible category-creating products. It was launched with the juice, which did about $1.5 billion alone before we started to expand into some other incredible category-creating products that are completely unique in the industry. And they include Glimpse, our toxin-free skincare. We have a product that helps you feel good again. We have our own whole food nutrition program, and we have some other products that are just phenomenal. We have a comp plan that pays out 50 cents on the dollar. And this is phenomenal in the industry. Hardly anybody pays anywhere near that. And we believe that we have, it's a comp plan that you can make more money with less time and less people than any other compensation plan in the industry. But all of that is great, but here's the icing on the cake. Everyone wants to know how to do a business once they decide to launch the business. And in fact, isn't that what makes franchising so incredible? Because they all have systems, and you've got to have systems in place. We have phenomenal systems. We not only have one system, we have several systems. We have the My Mangosteen system. We have the Go Team webinar system. We have the XGo Pro system. And we work as a team. We have a very, very powerful team. We all realize that we must work together. And so when you combine that incredible, all that package together, you have what I call the ultimate Plan B business opportunity with Zango. So there you go.
I would just like to say that, we have an amazing amount with the founders. The founders are just so special to our heart. I'll never forget, Art, when we first met Joe Morton, the founder of the fruit, of the juice, and wow, it was incredible. We were in Seattle. We were only 1Ks at that point, and Joe had offered to spend some time after the meeting, and he spent about an hour and a half with us. We had brought 6 people with us. We sat around a little round table, and Joe brought a bottle of juice and put it in the middle of the table, and everybody had their nice little ounce, and that was great. But I knew that my body and my digestive system needed more than an ounce, and so I kept kind of sipping on it the whole hour and a half. And at the end of the night, Joe had said how glad he was that I had drank the whole bottle other than the ounces everybody else had. He says, your body's going to love you tomorrow. And, you know, when I hugged Joe, I could feel his heart. And to think about it, you guys, we have 6 founders that have a heart like that. And I'll tell you, there's just been nothing greater. They're always there for you, and they're just amazing people. And you know, a heart starts from the top of the company and works down to the people. And so we just feel so blessed to have all of those great founders with us.
Yeah, you know what, Terry, and they are so unique. You know, and I was actually having a conversation with one of our leaders a couple of weeks ago that has a long history in the industry. And when he talks about our company and what I call the success circle, he thinks the biggest difference between Zango is the founders, because he, you know, as he has noted, in 20 plus years for myself of working with other companies, I've never once sat down with the founder, and he was able to spend an hour with Joe Morton on a lunch not that long ago, and he said that does not happen. If you come to Zango's convention, the founders come out from the stage and meet everybody, whereas in other companies, they go back the stage and avoid everybody. So there is the difference. So let's get into it now, the steps to getting started. And as I said to you, do it and teach others. And some of you need to get started now. Some of you have been in for a while and need to start over again. Let's face that. So the steps to getting started.
Art's just working on the computer here. The computer is a little bit slow.
This is the first thing, really, you know, and before we get into the actual, I guess, steps, but this is really the first step, is to become a product of the product, right? I mean, sometimes we don't use this term because it seems obvious to us that have been in it for a long period of time. But when you're getting started in your business, right, you have to be a product of your own product. You've got to use all of the products that you can. And in fact, we're recommending that people, when they launch into their business here, I mean, if you're a serious business person, you would want to be familiar with all of your products, right? I mean, you know, you've got to use the products that you want to share, plus you want to set up that kind of duplication potential in your downline. This is a follow the leader business. People will do as you do, and so you want to be involved with all of these products. We have the incredible juice, of course, our flagship product, world's top natural anti-inflammatory. We have our brand new Elavive that'll help you feel great again and make you feel like the way you used to feel. We have our toxin-free skin care program, where they finally figured out a way how to get those same xanthones that are creating miracles inside the body with the juice, outside of the body into our skin nutrition program. We have our own whole food nutrition program. Everybody needs a certain amount of vitamins, and you've got to get them from food. I'm sorry. Most of the vitamins you take are absolutely wasted. We also have just come out with a pericarp oil, which is the essence of our xanthones, and it's an incredible product, Terry, you know, and actually is like our secret weapon around the house. Use it on all kinds of skin problems, and I know you'd like to talk about that as well as the new mineral treatment program.
Well, you know, all of our products are awesome. We all get such great testimonials from the people out there in the field, and as you know, I do follow-up, so I probably hear more testimonials than most of you. But the pericarp oil is just a knockout product. We've used it for so many different things. Our daughter was here just last week, and she's a chef, and she was showing me a picture on her cell phone where she had burnt her hand sticking it in the oven for the top burner, and she had gone home and half hour later and put the pericarp oil on it, and then showed me the picture a half an hour after she had applied it. And you couldn't even tell that she had really burned her hand. It was phenomenal. So the brushes, you guys, and the powder, I cannot say enough about it. I mean, it's just amazing. I have tried different powders. I'm not a big powder person, as in putting it on my face all the time. I just do it when we go out. And it does protect you from the UV. And also, it's just so silky. I've tried other ones, and I really, really like this. But I'll tell you what, these brushes, 4 brushes for $40, okay, are phenomenal. I mean, Art and I were at the beauty salon the other day getting our hair cut. Art saw the 3rd brush on there, and it was $44 for that one little brush, and we can get all 4 for $40. I mean, Beverly Hollister has really done an amazing job with her products. She's always giving us the best of the best, and so, yeah, you really want to be a product of the product.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that, Terry. And, of course, our other product, if you will, is the Zango Goodness Meal Pack. Do you realize that there's 6 million children around the world dying of starvation every year still in this society? Isn't it shocking? And so we have an emergency meal pack that you can actually purchase that provides 35 meals to starving children. And actually, we buy these every single month. It's a way to give back. And, of course, it brings us to this point. Zango was launched with a charitable intent right from the very, very beginning. They designated 5 to 7% of corporate net profits to children's charities. And you know that the average good corporate citizen, Fortune 500 company that gives anywhere from 1/4 to 0.5% of net profits is considered a good citizen. And Zango basically told us privately, they don't make a big thing about this, in January at a special retreat for leaders, that so far to that date they've given over $30 million to children's charities. So it's a pretty phenomenal product line, and it's a great company that you're involved with. And yes, this is the kind of products that we are going to be coming out with, category-creating products like Elavive. And you notice that when we come out with a product, that it is so unique and it is so branded and it fits into such a special niche in the marketplace that it opens you up to a whole new world. And Elavive is for anyone who is tired, stressed, and depressed. Do you know anybody like that? In fact, whenever I ask questions, when I'm on 3-way calls with brand new candidates that people are bringing to me, I ask them that question. I asked it to a lady the other day. Do you know anyone who's tired, stressed, and depressed? She just started laughing. I'm telling you, everybody out there seems to be having this problem, and they're taking all kinds of things for it, and we have a natural alternative that can really help you feel great again.
I would just like to also add that, remember, this product is going in and rebalancing your body. And so it's really important because everybody's body is different. You might need different amounts. For instance, some people take 2 in the morning with their breakfast. Some people actually split it up. They have 1 for breakfast, 1 for lunch. There are people that take more throughout the day because that's what they need for their body. So it's really important to look at that. Drink lots of good water. And I say good water because some of the tap water out there is not very good. Drink lots of good water to help your body balance itself, flush itself out. And this product is amazing. We've heard the testimonials on this, so we know that it performs.
Okay, so let's get into the steps now. There's some actual physical steps that we're going to get into to get your business started. First thing, get logged into your My Mangosteen back office, okay? And become familiar with it. Go through all of these tabs. Watch all the videos. Go through all of the front side, this is the back side, and go through all of the back side here. And the first thing you're going to come to in here, the number 1 step I teach brand new people, is to go through the Getting Started training. This should be stop number 1. Now, I know that people get hung up on this training because this is a very sophisticated training to walk you through the steps of success. And people get to these steps, and they're not ready to make the commitment. And so they stop the training. And so I don't really like that. I mean, obviously, if you stop the training at a certain point, you should recognize that you have a block that you need to think about. Maybe you aren't that committed, right? And maybe so in other words, it can be a teaching training as well as a training. So when you go through this, look to see where your resistance lies to what steps that you're wanting to take, because that's a clue on something that's holding you back. But I will say this, I would rather you complete the training, whether you're not ready to commit to all of the steps in this training, than not complete the training. And so what I want you to do, if you're unwilling to, when you reach a resistance point and you can't commit to something that it's asking you to do in there, I want you to have a piece of paper and I want you to write that down. These are the things I haven't committed to yet, and I want you to write that down, and then I want you to move through, because I want you as soon as possible to complete this entire training, because it's going to lay the foundation for everything else that we're going to do. And it also has a very sophisticated strategy that is going to teach you about third-party credibility and how to plug people into your upline. So this is very, very important, and don't drop the ball on this. Make sure, now I'm talking to the leaders here, make sure your new people go through and complete this training, okay? You're their coach. You're their mentor, right? You want to make sure that they do the basics. This is the foundation here. And don't skip any of these steps that are in here. Go through this entire thing. And then, of course, you want to be involved in XGO Pro. This is our training system. And this comes with the MyMangosteen and the XGO Pro. They're all connected. The back office, you can flip from one to the other. It has training, leadership, events in here. And, of course, it's all part of our training mentoring system with John Godsick and Doug Weed. Phenomenal trainers. I have learned so much from these guys. I'm telling you, we're reinventing ourselves over here because of how much we've learned already from XGO Pro. And, of course, you get these CDs every week as a part of that, one CD per week. And this is really important to continue your training and your learning as you launch your $1 million business, isn't it? It's really important to continue learning about this business. And so you'll get a new CD each week that'll provide insights and training. In fact, the last one I got was Pat Petrino. And so what you'll find as you listen to these CDs is that each one of them will appeal to a different person, won't they? And so that you can use them actually as not, if not the primary recruiting CD, a follow-up CD. So you listen to Pat Petrino, you think about anybody you know in their 20s, because he talks about how he just spent the last year traveling. Basically, actually, if you really listen to it carefully, sounds like he was like homeless. He stored everything and just went traveling and did his business on his cell phone and his laptop. So who do you know that whole lifestyle might appeal to? Get that CD into their hands, right? You got somebody that's all wrapped up in the compensation plan, wants to know about the compensation plan. Get them the McCarthy CD. It is absolutely phenomenal. So these become teaching and training tools that you get every single week. All of this, the only business expense really here is $29.95 a month. And when I tell new candidates that they get the MyMangosteen team system, they get the XGO Pro, and they get one CD per week for $29.95 a month, they just laugh. That is such a deal. Some other tools, you're going to want to get your own set of tools. You'll find out all about that during the trainings. So now we have another training, don't we? And these trainings dovetail one into the other. They both cover a lot of the same foundations, but they are all a little bit different because GoTeamWebinar.com is our online recruiting system, isn't it? Okay? It's very, very powerful. We're just really having a ball with this because when you walk somebody through the steps at GoTeamWebinar.com, and then when I do a follow-up with somebody that has been, and we're going to teach you how to do this in a second here, when somebody that has been walked through this system, when I do the three-way with them, man, it is so powerful because they have just been demonstrated the system to them. And so you want to get on the Go Team webinar Wednesday night, getting started training, and go through and learn how to get started. Also, a lot of it's similar to what you'd find in MyMangosteen, but specifically how to use their webinar system here. So now, this is the question that you really want to ask yourself. You've decided to launch this business, and I know sometimes we get almost too business-like because the truth of it is, who out there needs your help? I want you to think about who needs your help. I don't want you to think about yourself when you're starting to contact people. I want you to think about them and what's in it for them and what this could do for them. You will automatically get taken care of. You know, if you find fill a need and you find out what that need is and you serve others, you'll automatically build a great business. And so it really is getting into the mindset of being a servant and taking the message to people.
It's just really important to care about people. That's why I do follow-up. I just find that I know that I'm there as a mission to help these people. And so it's really important for me to phone and do follow-up and make sure they're getting the proper results on their products and know that you care about your people. Do you know how excited people are when you phone them? They're just ecstatic. Wow, they've called me. They really do care. It wasn't about selling the product. So it's really about making sure they get results.
Yeah, so what are the steps? Once you find the people, and this is part of our Go Team webinar system, the invitation. It all starts with an invitation. You invite others to look and listen, right? And there's many ways, and of course, there's a mastery of the invite. I know that. And I don't think I'm the best inviter, really. And I don't think it's so much what you say, it's what you feel about what you say. It's your enthusiasm. So it isn't the words so much as the enthusiasm, And in fact, they've done studies on this. The actual words that we use are only a small part of the actual communication process. Voice inflection, excitement, enthusiasm is more important than anything. And so when you're inviting people out, keep it simple and enthusiastic. It could be as simple as something like this. Hey, John, listen, I've been thinking about you for the last few days. I just got involved in this new project, and I think it's something that we just might be able to work together on. I don't know if it's for you or not. I can't really say. But listen, are you online? I mean, can you get on a webinar and just check something out for me? I'd really like to get your opinion on this. Yeah, sure. What's it all about? Well, I don't really want to explain it. In fact, if I did, I'd probably mess it up. That's why we have these webinars. We've got one coming up on Monday night around 6 o'clock. And if you could jump on that, I'd love to get your thoughts on it. And then perhaps I'd introduce you to some other people. And we just see, I don't know if this is for you or not, but I'd like to see if it is. And so would you do me a favor and just come on and just have a look at something that I'm just getting involved in? And, so that's it. That's one form of an invitation, There's many forms of invitation. I don't know if this is for you or not. It just always makes sense to look at your options. Things could change. And if you were listening to all the different ways of inviting, there's many different ways of getting people to listen and have a look. To me, it's so simple. People love the idea of sitting in front of their computer and watching a presentation. They don't even have to talk to anybody, right? They can just sit there and watch it from the comfort of their home and have then a present. Then the second step, of course, is the presentation step. Now, so step one is the invitation. Step two is the presentation. And so we're not saying that the webinar is the only way to present, because you can present with what we call offline tools. CDs can make presentations, can't they? You want to let the tool make the presentation. You don't want to make the presentation yourself. The other presentation tool, of course, is the My Mangosteen website. That'll make a presentation. Also, of course, your home meeting could be your presentation. There could be an event coming up, and some out-of-town expert is coming in, and they could be making the presentation. And so the invitation can be to any kind of presentation. But in this particular case, we're talking about the webinars. Now, here's something that we need to get better at, and I'd like to throw out a challenge. I don't know who all is listening to here, and I know that a lot of people have been using the Go Team webinar system, and we have some bios on all of the presenters here, and I would like to have them distilled down into about 2 or 3 sentences each. And I have mine down to about 2 or 3 sentences, but I don't have everybody else's yet. This is something I'd like to do so that when you're inviting people out, remember, people want to meet people. And so you want to invite them to meet somebody at that webinar. It's much more interesting than just saying a webinar. And so, we've got all these incredible presenters. John David Mann, has written at least 8 books. Some of them are on the bestseller list right now. Without even his own name on it. And he's built networks of 100,000 people in the past. In fact, I was in his downline. And so he's our presenter usually on Thursday night. Anna Mann, his wife, and in fact, they just got married about a year ago. And Anna used to be an educator. And now she's building this worldwide business from her home in the country. Of course, we have Eric Welsh, and there's with Heidi. And Eric, gosh, you know, I mean, here's a guy in his 30s. Before he got involved with Zango, he was on food stamps, if you can believe it. I mean, that's how desperate things were. Now he's a 200K premier, building in a phenomenal business. John Stetler is a premier. That's what he looks like when he works. And, of course, you've got me and Mike Raish, who used to be in the mortgage business and has had some history of working from home, and a phenomenal guy. So that's the presenters. So you need to learn how to invite people to see and hear these presenters. And then step 3, and this is the step that is the most important and the least done well. And so this is your weak spot, if you're listening to this, is the follow-up. People are afraid to follow up, right? They think, you know, I don't know what they're going to say, and we're weak at setting up the follow-up, and we're weak at following through on the follow-up. So this then becomes, because you know that's your weakness, then this is something you must do. And one of the things that I like to talk about, and I'm just going to go into a little more depth here than I might otherwise, because I know this is being recorded, and lots of people are going to be listening to this in the future. The key with the follow-up is you set the follow-up during the invitation. You lay the pathway for the follow-up during the invitation, and you do it maybe more than once, okay? So let's go back to the invitation and see how then I would finish that invitation that I gave you about. Remember, and I did set it up. I started to set it up, right? I said, I'd really like you to look at something. Can you go online, look at this webinar, and I'd like to introduce you to some people. If it looks good and so on, introduce you to some people. Did you hear me say that? That's setting up the follow-up. And now once I had got the commitment, okay, so Monday night, does that look good for you? Okay, so listen, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you this invitation in the mail or in the email, and you're going to get that. I'll probably check with you on Monday just to make sure you're all set up with it. And then why don't we do this? Listen, let's touch base right after the webinar so that I can get your immediate thoughts while everything's fresh in your mind. Or let's touch base the next morning. What's your schedule looking like? I want to plan this in here so I don't forget about this. I really want to walk through a few steps here with you to see if this is something that we can do together, right? So then when it comes to the follow-up, you've already told them that there's going to be a follow-up call, and they have been presented this. This is from the Go Team webinar system. So what's so cool about this is that when they watch the webinar and they're explained these 3 steps to them, they know step 3 is follow-up. And if they've just watched the presentation, they're expecting you to follow up. That's in the plan. That's part of the system. And so it's easy then to call up. And in fact, you don't even have to tell them. This is the one time when I feel completely comfortable with going ahead and just following up with your coach and mentor on the phone with you without even letting them know that there's somebody there. Because it's already been said. You've already said you're going to introduce them to some people. And you can learn more about 3-way calling and how this works. A great CD from Exco Pro by Candy Webb. Highly recommend it. If you haven't heard it, order it. If you're part of Exco Pro, order that CD on 3-way calling, Candy Webb. Incredible. Tells you exactly how to do this well. Okay? And so then the step 3 is the follow-up. And this is where third-party credibility comes in. Okay? And this is where you have the out-of-town expert. It's so important. Even if you are good enough, even if you're really slick on the phone, even if you are the kind of person that convinces anybody to do anything, you should not do it by yourself. You should bring in the third-party expert here. Why do you want to do that? Well, first of all, people always give third parties more credibility. But not only that, you're setting up a duplication potential. Because even if you can do it, what if you bring somebody in that can't do it? And here's the thing, and you might want to, just let me pause here. You might want to write this down and think about this. This is very, very important. Everything you do, every step you take, every communication that you have with new people, with new candidates, is teaching them how this business works. You are showing them how this business works with every step you take. So you have to ask yourself, what am I teaching them? Am I teaching them what I want them to do? And so if you don't do the three-way call on the follow-up, they won't either. You've taught them that it's not important to have an out-of-town expert on. And so naturally, you've taught them that, they won't do it either. Maybe you're only on a one-case auto ship. You've taught them that that's all you have to do to build a business is just go on one case. Maybe you don't go on webinars. You've taught them you don't have to go on webinars. Maybe you don't attend trainings. Maybe you don't go to events. You don't go to events, you've just taught them events aren't important. I don't have to go to events, and so they won't go to events. And so you've really got to be the leader that you want others to follow, don't you? You've got to do the things that you want them to do. And not necessarily even for you, but for them, right? You're wanting to help them build a business. And when you have somebody that commits to wanting to build, it's your responsibility to not only help them, but to lay the path that they can follow for the greatest chance of success. So you don't want to be the lone wolf, you know, and this comes from corporate America, the lone wolf, you know. People are afraid to ask for help in corporate America because they don't want to look stupid, right? And if they go asking their boss all the time, I mean, the boss may think less of them. And so they're trained to not ask for help. They're trained to not ask questions. They're trained to try to do it all of themselves, all by themselves. And that does not work in our business. And so you try to do it by yourself, you're shooting yourself in the foot here just for the reasons that we've just described to you. And so don't be the lone wolf. You can't do this by yourself. And even if you could, some of the people you bring in can't. And so it's important that you work together as a team, isn't it then? So remember your focus. Your focus. And what a powerful word that is. Your focus. Focus is everything, I can tell you this. When you decide to launch a business, you've got to have absolute focus on it. You can't think about your Zango business today and then don't think about it again until Wednesday. It really needs to be on your mind every single day if you're going to be successful. Now, I've said this before. I don't believe you're on this webinar today listening to this because all you want to make is a few $100s a month. You don't need any of this for a few $100s a month. You might even not need this for a couple $1,000s a month. But if you're taking your time out to listen to this today, you're probably looking for a lot more than that. And so then if that is the case, then you've got to put a lot of focus on this business, consistent, daily focus, and look for those 4 to 5 business partners. And I got news for you. You could call it good news or bad news. You might not find them all the first week. You might not find your 4 or 5 partners the first month. Guess what? You might not find them the first year. What if you were to only find one committed, powerful business partner per year, every year, for 5 years? You know that's enough at the end of those 5 years that you could be a 500K premier? That's all you need. But finding the right people is what it's all about. Now, where are all these people going to come from? This is the next question that everybody is asking, and so I'm going to do a little summary on it. I basically have talked about this as the 3 markets. I've also started talking about it as the 3 sources of contacts or the 3 sources of candidates as well. And so you could look at this as the 3 different ways to find people. The warm market, naturally, the people that you know, the people you care about, the people you have relationships with already. And that they go through all of how to contact the warm market in both of those trainings that I've talked about. The second market is what I call the cold market. And that's for people that you don't know. And if you want to get into the cold market, you've got to have advertising money, right? So this is a business, and you've got to think about it like a business. You know, we never had problems advertising in our business, even though we were broke going in the hole when we launched Zango. It always made sense to me that you should do some advertising. And so we have a system for that too, don't we? The Promise Co-op is our advertising system, and there isn't anything else. There is nothing else. I wish there was. There is nothing else that I can recommend to you for the cold market other than the Radio Co-op. Why? Because I haven't seen any of them ever do anything. I haven't seen anybody buy online leads and create any 5Ks out of it or 20Ks. We have 5Ks in our downline. We have 20Ks in our downline that have come, if not directly, indirectly through the radio co-op. So that's why I can recommend it. Is it going to make you rich overnight? No. No advertising program will. And I don't believe that you should do it by yourself either. I believe there's synergy in the three markets, and the best way is to do them all. So then you're asking, what is the third one? I actually made this little phrase up. I call it the meat market, the people you meet every single day. And the old saying is, if you haven't talked to enough people today, go get $20 worth of gas at 4 gas stations. You're going to meet somebody every step of the way, right? And it's about getting into conversations, developing a bit of a relationship and a rapport, and then making that invitation. And then once you make the invitation, you enter what I call the funnel. Okay? And so all of the invitations here, all of the candidates are coming in the top of the funnel, and this actually represents, let's talk about the very top of the funnel would be contacts. The first line is making contact with people. And not everybody you make a contact with is you're going to invite, right? And you go a little further down in the funnel here to the second line, and now you're starting to make invitations. Now, not everybody you make an invitation to is going to accept it. But then you're going to move a little bit further down here into the funnel, and now you've got somebody that has accepted your invitation, right? Now, not everybody that accepts your invitation is actually going to follow through and complete the presentation. And so you have to follow up on those people too. And then next thing, you're going to do they're going to take the presentation, aren't they? Whatever the presentation is, and you might have to help them make sure they take the presentation. Maybe you've mailed them a CD, and you want to make sure that they've listened to that, okay? And then you're going to do the follow-up. Now, not everybody that takes the presentation will do the follow-up. Some of them might say that they're not interested, but you're going to take them through that next step. Now they've followed up, and then we could continue this funnel. Okay, now a certain percentage of those that have gone through the invite, the presentation, and the follow-up are now going to join, right? And so now we've got a certain percentage here that have joined, and then a certain percentage that will become a business builder, certain percentage that then will start inviting, certain percentage will take it seriously, certain percentage will get committed to it, certain percentage will see the value of going to events, certain percentage will become 1Ks, certain percentage will become 5Ks, and out the bottom here, suddenly now you have a personally sponsored premiere, or maybe you have 2 premieres, and out the bottom here, maybe this is 100K premiere or 200K premiere. And so the wider the funnel, the more potential for people to come out the bottom. And so what is the top of the funnel? This is all about the number of contacts you make and the number of invitations you make. It's all right there. Here's the secret right here. Invitations and contacts, and of course, then presentation and follow-up. So the more people you're talking to, and I've said, it doesn't have to be huge numbers. I mean, it's amazing. How much time does it really take to talk to 1 or 2 people per day and invite them? Huh? How much time? 10 minutes? 15 minutes? To make an invitation? To watch a webinar? I mean, but if you were to do 2 per day, and people you know, and people you don't know, and people you meet, and you were to do that consistently, now that's the trick, isn't it? 2 per day, 5 days per week, that's 10 per week. I'll give you the weekends off. That's 10 per week, 50 weeks out of the year. I'll give you 2 weeks off. That's 500 contacts, and I would say 500 invitations a year for 3 to 5 years. I mean, you could not miss, right, if you followed the system. And so this is where everything breaks down. If you want to build a business and you want to create that $1 million business, you have to make consistent contacts, consistent invitations, and then you've got to work the system. The wider the funnel, the more success of the program, if you can't measure it. So now, let's get down to the core of our business here, because here's where the rubber meets the road, is creating 1Ks. Our entire compensation plan is based on 1K. And in fact, if you're wondering how to get to Premier, it's just so many 1Ks in the right place. That's all it is. You know? So you want to go 1K as soon as possible. As soon as possible, why? Because you're leading where you want others to follow. And if it takes you 6 months to get to 1K, what kind of a track have you laid? If it takes you 1 day to get to 1K, what kind of a track have you made for someone else to follow, for someone else to receive your inspiration? So speed is always a factor in a home business. The more you can do, and let's think about this. If you were to make 20 contacts a year and 20 invitations in 12 months, what do you think would be the difference to your business potential if you made 20 in 12 months or 20 in 1 month or 20 in 1 week? So speed is always a factor here. So to get to 1K, you need to bring 3 people into the business, have them on ADP, and you need $1,000 in volume. And you can triple your power bonus here by being on a 2-case ADP. If you are on 2-case ADP, other people are going to come in on 2-case ADP. And so when you're on a 2-case ADP, you sponsor somebody on a 2-case ADP, they buy $200 worth of products, you get a check for $60. Then when they bring somebody in on 2-case ADP, they get the check, the 30%, you get the second level power bonus of 15%, you get $30. So there's $90 in power bonuses here when you come in on a 1-case ADP, 2-case ADP. When you only come in on a 100 ADP, you only get 30% of the first order of their $100 buy. You don't even get the second level power bonus. So it's a triple your power bonus. And so you really want to be on the 200, and even the residual is just as dramatic. They did a study one time. The people that come in on 2-case or 200 PV after the end of 12 months are making 5 times as much money. So you've got to create the mindset and treat it like $1 million business. I know I'm running a little overtime here, but it's important that I go through these steps. Terry, I know goals and dreams are important here. Everybody's got to have some goals and dreams. Why don't you talk about your experience this week?
Wow, it's really exciting. You know, Art and I happened to be asked to go on a Smart Track call to help out a group, and when they started their call, the leader asked about their dreams out there, the people that were on the call, and everybody stated their dreams. And, you know, you guys, I think we misplace and do not think about our dreams. I think we need to write them down, and we need to be really clear what our dreams are. I mean, some of these people, it's not about the big cars and the big houses. I mean, yes, that's a great dream. But, you know, it's about helping people. Like this one gal, Lisa Stoke, she has such a strong desire to be able to travel, to go and see her dad anytime she wants. I mean, that's a dream, you guys. You know, her dad is in his 80s, and she really wants to spend time with him. She wants to be able to have enough money to bring her kids with her if she wants to. It's all about choices, you know, and so some of these dreams just really touched my heart. And I think it's important to keep talking about our dreams and write them down so that you're really clear what is your dream.
Okay, thanks a lot for that, Terry. And I'm going to close off. Basically, we're just about done here. I'm going to close off this with my favorite story about treating it like $1 million business, okay? This is kind of my pet peeve, guys. So bear with me here if I rant a little bit on this. But, you know, it's so cheap to start a home business with Zango that a lot of people don't really treat it like a business. You know, it becomes a hobby, right? You know, and so I think, you know, if you treat it like a business, $1 million business, and with the same kind of respect. I mean, I know as I look back in our career, and believe me, we've been through lots of ups and downs, okay? We've picked a lot of bad companies, and we've picked products that sounded good and didn't do anything, you know? And so it's been a journey, and we don't contribute a lot of our success to ourselves. You know, we really contributed to finding the right company, the right vehicle, and the right team, and the right systems and trainings, really. I mean, because we'd done all this before and it didn't work, right? So we can't take a lot of credit for this, but the one thing that I know I brought to the table was that business mindset. And when I got involved in any business, I treated it like a business, you know? I created my workspace. I cleaned out the cupboard of old business materials. I set up the credit cards, what I was going to use, the bank accounts. I wasn't afraid to order the tools. And so I like to think about, let's say that you decided to open up a Subway shop, right? It's $100,000 at least to open up a Subway shop, but that's your dream, you know. And this is one of the cheapest businesses that you can start, and it's $100,000. And let's say that you found the location and you signed a 5-year lease, so you're locked in on the lease, right? And you went to their training class, and you knew that you needed to get training, and then so you flew off to North Dakota and went through the Subway training thing, and of course you had to raise the money for it, and so you didn't have enough money of your own, but you borrowed $50,000 on a second loan against your house, and you needed another $50,000. Your brother is quite a wealthy doctor up here in Snohomish, Washington, and you went to your brother and you borrowed $25,000. Now you need another $25,000, and so you actually had to, the last resort, the last person that you really wanted to ask money from, but the last person on the table was your mother-in-law, and you got $25,000 for her. And now you've got this $100,000, you've launched this business. How do you think you would treat it? You got skin in the game, as Chris Peterson likes to say, right? So when Saturday morning comes up, right, and it's 10 o'clock and it's time to open up your Subway store, do you think you would make sure your store is open? No matter what, right? It would be there. You would make sure it was open. You wouldn't say, well, I'm busy today. I don't have time to really do my business today. In fact, there's a football game on this afternoon, so I don't think I'm going to go to that event. I know that Sherman Unkefer is coming into town, but I think I'd just rather go watch the Huskies play football this afternoon, or that Manville guy. I know he's doing that webinar on Saturday, but I don't know. I think it's going to be a beautiful Saturday, you know. I mean, I think let's take the kids down to the beach. You know, I can always do my business next week, right? Do you see the difference? See, you've got to put yourself into the mindset of the Subway guy, where you've got some skin in the game, where you're committed to this thing, where this is your business. And when you commit your hours and the time that you're going to spend in your business, you got to show up. So treat it like $1 million business, because it is, right? Here's the other pet peeve I have. I know I'm running over time, but give it at least the same amount of effort that you would give a job. I mean, I've said this before. People will always show up for their job for $10, $15, $20 an hour. Why won't they show up for their own business? And so a lot of it is going to be mindset that's going into your business here. I've got to run on here. I'm going to finish with a little checklist here, and then I've got a special surprise secret guest to come on here. Checklist. Number 1, write this down. Go through your My Mangosteen training and complete it. Step number 2, register for the Go Team training on Wednesday night. Complete that. Step number 3, join XGO Pro. Whoops. We got to unpause this here. Step number 3, join XGO Pro. Step number 4, order your business tools so that you can let the tools do the talking, all right? You were a carpenter. You were going out to build an addition on a house. Would you have tools with you? Would you buy tools? Would you have the right tools? Don't be afraid to invest in some tools, but don't go crazy and buy every tool in the book. Ask your sponsor. Ask your upline. And the tool that you're excited about is the best tool that there is. You don't need tons of them, but you've got to have tools. Make your list and think about what's in it for them. And when you've completed your list and gone through the prospect profiles, have a list meeting and discuss it with your sponsor. Don't contact your best and brightest without discussing it with your sponsor and your upline. Stay connected. Don't be the lone wolf, and get involved and keep involved. Get on webinars and conference calls. Don't use them as hiding places where all you're doing is going on a webinar and a conference call and you're not making any contacts and invitations. But if you're not doing anything anyway, why not get on this? Maybe it'll re-energize you. And number 7, start inviting and go 1K. So I've got, what are your goals? I want my Zango business to be earning so much 1 year from today. I'd like you to write that down. First 6 months is your foundation, and how many hours per week are you going to put into your Zango business just as if you were running a Subway store, okay? And maybe some of you have to slot that time in. So